What are you hearing about would be available? What do you think? What are you hearing about the Commanders pick?
I haven't heard anything new. I wrote a column last week just to remind everyone, like, hey, this is peak silly season, right? Like April Fool's Day lasts the first 3 weeks of April, not one day on the NFL calendar because of just how much bleep that is thrown against the wall to see if it sticks. And some of it's also, again, people think they hear the right thing and they don't. But I think it makes sense whether you look at the betting markets, you hear the insiders, Adam Schefter saying last week in his podcast, all signs point to Jaden Daniels going number 2 to Washington. There's kind of a loose connection here with Cliff Kingsbury, who was at USC where Jane Daniels had been before. And, they didn't overlap, but the type of system that Cliff Kingsbury likes to run operates best with a highly mobile quarterback, which obviously Jaden Daniels is. So I think right now the most obvious pick, the most commonly reported pick would be Jaden Daniels. And if not, I think we all know it should be Drake May. So it's still one of those two guys at number 2.
Who do you like the most?
I like Drake May, and I have a story coming out in the Herald tomorrow. It's a full-on scouting report. I've watched every single throw. I've watched every single run of Drake May from the last year and two. And Doug Cobb, my colleague at the Herald, did the same for Jaden Daniels. Today, it's in the paper. It's online. You can find everything you want to know about him. And I just look and just say, I think the ceiling here is higher. I think he checks more prototypical boxes. The Patriots should be thrilled with either. But May's got something as far as extending plays and creating something out of nothing that I don't think Daniels does as far as throwing the ball. And I think that right now, when you look at the elite quarterbacks across the league, all of them do that. That separates the great from the elite.
You think so when you watch him, you think he could be a great quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's encouraging. So, I mean, what do you say to all the people that then go, well, trade down or take Marvin Harrison, which we hear a lot, which I don't like, but go ahead.
No, I just, you don't expect to be in this position ever. In this position, specifically the top 5, top 10 of the draft, is the only reliable place on planet Earth where you can find franchise quarterbacks. It's not a guarantee. Okay. Anyone who thinks there's a perfect prospect out there or a perfect trade or any kind of guarantee in the draft is fooling themselves, right? These are low probability, but on the spectrum of probability hitting on quarterbacks, this is the highest end. You're not trading for them. It doesn't happen. You're not signing for them. They never get to free agency. This is where you take your swing. And for people who think that Jaden Daniels, who just won a Heisman Trophy last year, seemingly coming out of nowhere, and said all these records is just going to pop up again next year. It doesn't happen. He was an outlier, right? Like there's a reason that he had an unprecedented season with 2 top 15 receivers, the best offensive line in the SEC. Like it was a complete historical outlier. So next year's class is bad. This year's has been loaded with 3 elite quarterbacks. We've known this. We've heard it for months. Take the guy, sit him if you need to, build the roster around him. Jacoby Brissett is here to take the hits, whether literally in the pocket or while you lose to protect the quarterback. You're here, make it the last time you're here for another 10, 15 years and take the kid.